in this chaotic world, I wanted one little corner of the internet to be a warm, happy little bubble where people could just escape from the chaos and the toil and the clutter of the world, just cut away all the noise. Ever since I was little, I've been engaged in various creative pursuits like crafting, drawing comics, and even filming little short films for my dolls. So it's funny because I was never really the artsy kid in school, and practically nobody knew about this side of me or these interests of mine, but somehow, thankfully, my parents recognized this artistic streak in me, and so they encouraged me to pursue a creative field, which is how I landed up in university studying communication design. And I can't pinpoint the exact moment in time, but I eventually gravitated towards illustration and illustrative design because it was the perfect balance between art and design and the most straightforward way of what people might call visual storytelling. So I cannot imagine myself waking up every day, commuting to an office place and spending 8 hours in that place every single day of my life. That's not the kind of life that I envision for myself. It is a double-edged sword following these many illustrators. On the one hand, of course, you're inspired by them. I draw a lot of inspiration from them. But on the other hand, I feel like I'm never going to be as good enough. So I've had some major identity crises in the past, asking myself questions like, what is the point? What is my artistic voice? What am I communicating to the world? And is there any point of putting out any more art into the world if I'm not conveying a fresh, unique perspective each time? But I have discussed these things with other illustrators and artists that I've found through Instagram and of course elsewhere. And this has eased my worries a bit because I've realized that everybody goes through this. Your confidence ebbs and flows. You can never expect to be in the same mental space all the time when doing something that is artistic in nature. There is this thing called the skill gap, which means when I was 12, right, I thought my art was spectacular. And then my taste and my knowledge developed in the field. Then I looked at what I used to create and I absolutely was disgusted. Eventually, my skills caught up to the level of taste or knowledge that I was at, and then I was content again. But it's a cycle, so it starts all over again. And then my knowledge and my taste again get refined, and my skills are again lacking. So the skills take time to catch up to the level of taste that you have, right? At the moment, I have a pretty awful work-life balance, if I'm being honest, something I need to be improving upon. It's because when you are working from home or you are freelancing, the boundaries between your work life and your personal life are blurred to the point that they are non-existent. So I could be waking up whenever, going to sleep whenever. There's no set routine, and when you don't have a 9-to-5 job, there are no set hours, right? So people expect you to work for them whenever, be it on the weekends or late nights. Well, initially, like I said, I started off by doodling little comics and making little paper crafts, and I never expected, even now it feels almost surreal to think I'm doing this as my profession. Take criticism as far as it's necessary, but again, not let it get too hard. I felt like the imposter because here I am messaging people to collaborate with me on making illustrations together, but I don't know how to use a tablet, which is so silly. But yeah, so that kind of forced me into it. And somehow, just overnight, I learned how to use the tablet, So I guess being, situation forces you into learning things that you're usually afraid of doing. So what I want to do is I want to illustrate for children's books specifically and other books because I've always loved physical books. I've loved flipping through glossy illustrated pages, and I've always loved reading books, right? So it's the best of both worlds. You get a book and you get illustrations within it. So that's kind of what I want to do. And of course, illustrations for packaging perhaps. But like I said, I don't want to be working all my life for one particular boss per se or studio. I want to be hopping places. So I think I'd be freelancing for different studios, freelancing on a per project basis as opposed to just being an employee at a place for several years. I guess what I want to say is that it's okay to have your own idea of success. The greatest gift you can give yourself is discovering what lights you up and then just do it, just go for it. At the end of the day, I believe that what is meant for you will come to you, as cheesy as it might sound. I think taking the first step is good enough.